Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of the Falls Township Zoning Hearing Board for October 13th. We are going to open our meeting with a petition number 4 for Selco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless. We received a letter today requesting continuance. Keith, you care to share the contents of that letter? Or?
Yes. What we'll do is actually we'll mark it as a board exhibit. We'll mark it as ZHB1. I received a letter actually yesterday from Selco's attorney, Christopher Schubert, requesting a continuance of this matter and granting us a waiver of all applicable timelines that could apply. Selco is working with the township, and I believe they're going to be going in front of them for conditional use, which might negate the need of having zoning relief. So I believe that they've filed that already, or are going to file the conditional use request, and it'll probably come off our agenda next month. So
okay, great. So at this point, we'll be looking for a motion to continue this matter to the November 10th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that matter's continued to the November 10th meeting for Selco Partnership. Okay. So we'll continue with petition number 1, Teresa Keeney, 6 Timber Lane, Levittown, PA, 19054, requesting a dimensional variance to erect an addition which encroaches into the side yard setback of 10 feet. Good evening, Ms. Keeney. Right now, we're going to have you, are you and your husband both going to speak?
Just me, but he's
Just you. Oh, okay. If he wants to speak, I just want to have you both sworn in so that we don't have to break in and do that later, okay?
Okay.
The next voice you'll hear will be our court reporter.
Do you both swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Keeney, what is your first name, please?
Darren.
I'm sorry.
Darren, D-A-R-R-E-N.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Keeney, now we're going to mark some exhibits for your petition through our solicitor, okay? And then we're going to turn it over to you in a couple of seconds here, okay?
Mr. Chairman, if we could mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB1, along with the accompanying hardship letter. 2 will be the impervious calculation sheet. 3 will be permit denial letter from Falls Township dated September 9, 2020. 4 is a plot plan for the subject property. 5 will be 3 pages containing 4 color photographs, one of which shows that the property was posted as required. 6 will be the neighbor and applicant notification letters as required. 7 will be the applicant's Zoom authorization. 8 will be proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier Times, showing that this matter was published September 29th and then again October 6, 2020. That is all of the board exhibits, Mr. Chairman, and I'm satisfied that all the appropriate notice have been satisfied and this matter can proceed.
Great, thank you, Mr. Billingmeyer. Mrs. Keeney, if you could explain to us what's going on and the relief you're requesting.
well. First, I just want to say thanks for everyone being here tonight and to hear us. We're looking to do an addition, and our property line is wider in the front than it is in the back. So that leaves us with the back of the house for the new addition, 6 feet 9 inches from the property line. So it's under the 10-foot variance, and that's why we are here tonight.
Okay. Great. We can open it up now. The board would like probably to ask you some questions about what's going on and everything. Okay. Awesome. Scott.
I see exactly what they're trying to do there, and it looks like I don't have any questions for them on that.
Thank you. Doug?
No, I have no questions either, Dan.
Bill?
I have none.
Al?
No, I see it's an irregular lot, so I see exactly what's going on. No questions.
Excellent. Great. Do we have any public comment questions loaded?
No public comment.
Matt, any pertinent correspondence we received on this petition to the township?
No correspondence.
Okay, great. Awesome. I have no questions, pretty straightforward, pretty clear planning. Without further questions, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that the application of Teresa Keeney requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-20F and table 1 of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to erect an addition which encroaches into the side yard setback of 10 feet at the property located at 6 Timber Lane, Levittown, Pennsylvania, 19054 is depicted on the plans in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Scott, poll the board, please.
Yes, myself is yes. Bill,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Doug, you're muted. Doug?
Yes, yes.
And Dan?
Yes. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Keeney, you've been approved for the variance. You'll receive a letter from our solicitor's office about your next steps going forward, okay?
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
We're going to wait for our second petition here to load. Okay. Okay, great. Petition number 2, Ashley Piskorski.
Yep, that's it.
Sorry if I messed one up. 297 Thornridge Drive, Levittown, PA. Requesting a dimensional variance to erect a shed within the secondary front yard setback. Ms. Piskorski, do you have someone with you? If you're both going to speak the petition, I'll have you both sworn in. Sorry, after you're sworn in, if you could just state your name and spell it if need be for our court reporter, okay? Next wish you hear will be our court reporter.
Do you both swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And could you just state your name, sir?
Tom Piskorski.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Piskorski, we're going to mark some exhibits for the application through the township and our solicitor first. He'll take care of that. Then we're going to turn it over to you, okay? So give us a brief moment here. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB1 along with the accompanying statement from the applicant. 2 will be the permit denial letter from Falls Township dated September 18, 2020. 3 will the impervious calculation sheet. 4 is a plot plan. 5 is a drawing of the premises, which is subject to the application. 6 will be 2 pages containing 4 color photographs, one of which shows that the property was posted as required. 7 is the applicant and neighbor notification letters that are required by Falls Township zoning code. 8 is the Zoom authorization signed by the applicant. 9 will be proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier Times, showing that this matter was published September 29, 2020, and then again, October 6, 2020. That is all of the board exhibits, and all the appropriate notices have been satisfied. This matter can proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what's going on, guys?
Thank you all for meeting with us. I hope everyone's being safe and doing well. So what we would like to do is we would like to take down our old shed that was here when we moved in. It's an 8x10 shed. And currently, you know, it's very small and it leaks. It's what we were brought in with. And then have a shed over on our side front yard that is currently fenced in. We are a corner lot, so that's considered our side front yard.
Okay, excellent. So now we're going to open it up. We'll ask some questions from our board members to you, okay? Great. Scott?
I see that you have the sewer easement in the back that you're trying to stay away from, and I'm okay with the shed being in that side yard, but is the 4 feet enough distance, does anyone else know, to be away from the edge of the property there?
Yes, our neighbors are all aware that we are attempting to get this approved, and it is well away from the sidewalk there. And then we do have our fence in between in that distance.
Okay. Ed or Matt, I don't know if you're there. Is 4 feet enough off the side property for that?
Based on, the ordinance requires 25 feet because it's considered a front yard. But when you look at the actual orientation of the house, it really is their side yard. There is a fence right now that is beyond that, right close to the sidewalk. That sits, well past that.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Doug,
I'm good. I see what they're trying to do. Thank you.
Bill,
No, I have none.
Al?
I have nothing.
Yeah, I have no questions. Thank you for including the paperwork for the variance for the fence. So everything's all in order there anyway. Any public comment questions?
There's no public comment.
Thank you so much. And Matt, nothing we've received from the township standpoint?
No, nothing from the township.
Okay, great. All right. Without further questions from our board, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that the application of Ashley Piskorski requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-34E, 209-20F, and table 1 of the Falls Township zoning ordinance to be granted to erect a shed within the secondary front yard setback, the property located at 297 Thornwich Drive, Levittown, Pennsylvania, 19054, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
There's a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Scott, poll the board, please.
Myself, yes. Doug?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And Dan?
Yes. Okay, your variance has been approved. You'll receive a letter from our solicitor about next steps and everything else, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mchugh. Petition number 3, Joseph Mchugh, 813 Fairfield Road, Fairless Hills, PA, requesting a dimensional variance to erect an addition which encroaches into the side yard setback of 10 feet. Mr. Mchugh, we're going to have you sworn in by our court reporter. If you could unmute, next voice you hear will be our court reporter, okay? Thank you.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to mark some exhibits for the petition, and then we're going to turn it over to you, okay, Mr. Mchugh?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB1, along with the accompanying statement from the applicant. 2 will be a permit denial letter from Falls Township dated September 8, 2020. 3 is the impervious calculation sheet. 4 is a plan of the applicant's property. 5 will be a letter from Gail Blemming, 815 Fairfield Road, in regards to this matter. 6 is the applicant's Zoom authorization. 7 will be the applicant and neighbor notification letters as required. 8 will be 3 pages containing 4 colored photographs, one of which shows the property was posted as required. 9 will be proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier Times, showing that this matter was published September 29th, 2020, and then again October 6th, 2020. That is all the board exhibits, Mr. Chairman. I'm satisfied the appropriate notice have been satisfied, and this matter can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Billingmeyer. Okay, Mr. Mchugh, what's going on?
So we're looking to construct a full second floor addition. We will not encroach any further on the side yard setbacks than the existing home currently states. We're about 5.5 feet, but we're just going straight up, basically.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm going to have, see if there's any questions from our board members for you, okay?
Sure.
Bill?
No, as you said, you're going straight up. You're not getting any closer to what you originally have. I don't have a problem with that.
Al,
No, I have nothing, Dan.
Scott,
Scott, you're muted.
You're just going straight up. You're not adding any extra entrances or anything else from the outside or anything?
No, sir.
Okay, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Doug?
I'm good also. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going right up in the straight plane there, not adding any more encroachment into the side yard than you already have. Okay, any public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you. Matt, anything missed?
No, nothing from the township.
Nothing from the township side? Okay. All right, without further questions, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that the application of Joseph Mchugh requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-20F and table 1 of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to erect an addition which encroaches into the side yard setback of 10 feet, the property located at 813 Fairfield Road, Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, 19030, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Scott, pull the board, please.
Yes. Myself, yes. Doug?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And Dan?
Yes. Okay, Mr. McHugh, the variance is approved. You get a letter from our solicitor's office. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Everybody's been moved in the room.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Ms. Von Sprekelstein.
Good evening. Von Sprekelson.
Sprekelson, thank you. Just waiting for the rest of your people to get loaded in here.
Okay.
And then we'll just have them batch sworn in. Just let me know when you have everybody.
You should have everyone. Julie, Mike, and Ron are all in the room.
Okay, great. Mike and Ron, I'm going to have you sworn in by our court reporter now, okay?
Okay.
You both swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll mark some petitions or some exhibits for the petition.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB1, along with the accompanying hardship letter. 2 will be the Zoom authorization signed by applicant's attorney. 3 will be 4 pages containing 4 color photographs, all of which show that the property was posted for tonight's meeting. 4 is a signage plan consistent with tonight's application. 5 is proof of publication, the Bucks County Courier Times, showing this matter was published September 29th, 2020, and then again, October 6, 2020. I've been provided with applicants' table of contents and the exhibits. What I feel comfortable doing is we'll mark them as A for applicant. Their solicitors provided us with the affidavit of notification and along with the form letter sent to the abutting property owners. We'll mark that as A1. A2 will be the zoning application and hardship letter submitted by the applicant. A3 will be a copy of the deed. A4 will be the lease agreement. A5 is declaration of the easement. A6 will be the aerial photographs of the property. 7 will be the CV of Ronald Kloss. 8 is the signage plan prepared by an engineering firm. 9 is the building elevations drawing prepared by Harrison French and Associates. And I just asked the solicitor, does that cover all of your exhibits that have been sent to the township?
That is correct.
Okay. And if I can just ask you a couple questions about A1, the affidavit of notification, that notification and the accompanying letter provided notice of tonight's meeting to the abutting or adjoining property owners. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm satisfied the appropriate notices have been satisfied and this matter can proceed.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay to begin?
Absolutely, Ms. Freckleson.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your time. Julie Bonds-Freckelson on behalf of the applicant, Wawa Inc., which is the lessee of the property located at 549 West Trenton Avenue. The legal owner of the property is Morrisville Commons LP, care of the Variance Company. The property is located in the HC Highway Commercial District, and it comprises 3 acres. Just to give you a little bit of background in the existing conditions, and if you want to use tab 5 of my exhibit booklet, which is now A5, that would be helpful to follow along with some of the existing conditions of the property. So the property is one of 3 subdivided parcels, and as you can see from the exhibit, the yellow border shows the 3 subdivided parcels, and that subdivision was completed in August of 2020. Lot 1 is located at the corner of Pine Grove Road and West Trenton Avenue and is improved with a Wawa convenience store with fuel facilities. Lot 2 is located in the middle between Lot 1 and Lot 3, and that's improved with the Rite Aid Pharmacy. And then Lot 3 abuts Lot 2, and that's located along Pine Grove Road. And that's the property that is the subject of the zoning application, which is again 3 acres and leased by Wawa from the property owner. It's approved for a Wawa drive-through of 1,840 square feet, and that's currently under construction. And as you can see from the aerial photo, the property is an oddly configured, densely wooded lot with extensive frontage on Pine Grove Road, yet it does not have direct access to either Pine Grove Road or to West Trenton Avenue. Rather, the property is part of a reciprocal easement agreement, which is attached to the exhibit booklet as A5. And that reciprocal easement agreement is among the 3 properties and the lessees of the 3 properties, since it's all under common ownership. And that allows the access and allows Lot 3, the lot subject to this application, to take access to Pine Grove Road from Lot 2, and then also from West Trenton Avenue from Lot 2 as well. So the approved Wawa drive-through business model is a concept that's the first of its kind. The drive-through buildings are much smaller in size and have a different shape and design than a traditional Wawa convenience store. Thus, the signage proposed is necessary for branding purposes and to help distinguish the Wawa drive-through from the traditional Wawa convenience store and to safely navigate the traveling public through the Wawa drive-through site. So what we're proposing are 3 wall signs for the 1,840 square foot Wawa drive-through building and 1 directional sign to be located near the driveway entrance at West Trenton Avenue. And this is shown on, it is now exhibit A8 and A9. A8, the site plan, and that shows the proposed locations of the sign on the building and at the driveway entrance on West Trenton Avenue. So the proposed wall sign on the north elevation, and that's the one that's on the front of the building that actually faces the Rite Aid, and that is 31.95 square feet, and that doesn't require any zoning relief at all. The proposed wall sign on the east elevation is 66.65 square feet, and that requires a variance to exceed the maximum permitted area of 32 square feet. And that's the elevation that faces Pine Grove Road. The proposed wall sign on the south elevation is 9.87 square feet, and that requires a variance to allow the 3rd wall sign on the building. And that faces, it's actually the back of the building, and it faces the wooded portion of the lot. And then finally, the proposed directional sign, that's double-sided, it's illuminated, and it comprises 8 square feet. And the directional sign requires variances to allow it to be illuminated and to exceed the maximum permitted area of 4 square feet. So those are the signs that are being proposed and the variances that are required. I do have one expert witness this evening, and that's Ron Klaus. He is the project engineer from Bowler Engineering. And if the board is amenable, for expediency purposes, I'd like to offer his testimony through an offer of proof. And then at the conclusion of the offer of proof, I would ask that Ron confirm the testimony and adopt it as his own.
Yeah, I see no problem with that.
Okay, great. So Ron Klaus would testify as follows, that he has a BS and master's degree in civil engineering and has been a licensed civil engineer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania since 1984. He is and has been employed by Bowler Engineering since 1995 and is currently an associate with Bowler. His duties with Bowler include zoning and land development code analysis and preparation of zoning and subdivision and land development plans. He has testified at numerous zoning hearings and has been accepted as an expert in civil engineering, zoning, and land development in dozens of municipalities, including most recently Warminster Township, Upper Providence Township, Limerick, Hatfield, and Franconia Townships. And Ron would confirm that a true and correct copy of his CV is at tab 7, which is now A7 of the exhibit booklet. And I would ask that Ron be accepted as an expert in engineering, zoning, and land development.
So accepted.
Thank you. Ron would further testify that he was engaged with Wawa Inc. to provide engineering services for the proposed construction of the Wawa drive-through store at the property, including visiting the site, analyzing township ordinances, and preparing the signage plan at tab 8 of the exhibit booklet. Ron would testify he has viewed other commercial building signage in the area, including the abutting Wawa and Rite Aid signage, and he has reviewed the building elevation drawing prepared by Harrison French and Associates Ltd. Contained in A9 of the exhibit booklet. And using the signage plan and building elevation drawing at tabs 8 and tabs 9 of the exhibit booklet, A8 and A9, Ron would testify that the following signs are proposed. A wall sign of 31.95 square feet on the north building elevation that faces the Rite Aid parking lot, which requires no zoning relief. A wall sign of 66.65 square feet on the east building elevation that faces Pine Grove Road, which requires a variance to exceed the maximum permitted area of 32 square feet. A wall sign of 9.87 square feet on the south building elevation facing the densely wooded portion of the property, which requires a variance to allow a third wall sign on the building. A double-sided illuminated directional sign comprising 8 square feet and located on the Rite Aid parcel near the driveway entrance of West Trenton Avenue. The directional sign requires variances to allow it to be illuminated and to exceed the maximum permitted area of 4 square feet. With regard to the proposed wall sign facing Pine Grove Road, Ron would testify that the property is over 3 acres in area and is on an irregularly shaped, densely wooded lot with over 688 feet of frontage along Pine Grove Road, but with no direct access to Pine Grove Road. Further, the building is set back 100 feet from Pine Grove Road. Access to the property from Pine Grove Road is through Lot 2, the Rite Aid lot. Thus, the proposed 66.65 square foot sign on the east elevation facing Pine Grove Road is necessary for identification of the Wawa drive-through and providing the visibility necessary for safe stopping and turning from Pine Grove Road onto the driveway access of Lot 2. Additionally, the size of the sign is appropriate in scale in relation to the size of the east elevation, which is 1,040 square feet. Yeah.
I hate to interrupt. Could you just slow down for our court reporter?
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I tend to speak quickly when I'm doing offers of proof. Sorry about that. So the size of the east elevation is 1,040 square feet, and that makes the sign only 6.4% of the east building elevation. With regard to the proposed wall sign on the back of the building facing the wooded portion of the property, Ron would testify that the signage as proposed is necessary for branding purposes and to help distinguish the Wawa drive-through from the traditional Wawa convenience store located on Lot 1. Ron would testify that this approved Wawa drive-through business model concept is the first of its kind, and the Wawa drive-through buildings are much smaller in size and have a different shape and design than the traditional Wawa convenience stores. Thus, the signage as proposed is necessary for branding purposes and to help identify the Wawa drive-through and distinguish it from the traditional Wawa convenience store. The third proposed sign on the south elevation of the building will assist the public traveling north on Pine Grove Road in identifying the Wawa drive-through building, which is smaller in size and a different shape than that of the traditional Wawa building. Additionally, the proposed number of wall signs is in conformity with the number of signs on neighboring commercial properties. With regard to the proposed 8 square foot illuminated directional sign located on the right aid lot near the driveway entrance on West Trenton Road, Ron would testify that in order for the traveling public entering the property from West Trenton Avenue to get to the Wawa drive-through lot, they must cross the entirety of the right aid lot. Further, the right aid pharmacy building blocks the view of the Wawa drive-through building from the traveling public entering the property from West Trenton Avenue. Thus, Ron would testify that an 8 square foot illuminated directional sign is necessary near the driveway entrance of West Trenton Avenue to direct the traveling public safely to the Wawa drive-through. The sign needs to be greater than 4 square feet in order to provide the necessary visibility and to safely direct the traveling public towards the Wawa drive-through building and away from the Wawa convenience store on Lot 1. The sign needs to be illuminated because of the nighttime hours of operation of the Wawa drive-through. Ron would also testify that the reciprocal easement agreement entered into among Wawa Inc., Rite Aid, and the property owner allows the signage to be placed on the Rite Aid lot near the driveway entrance to West Trenton Avenue. Finally, Ron would testify that the signage as proposed is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property because it's a 3-acre, densely wooded, irregularly shaped lot with no direct street access and is improved with a new business model, the first of its kind, Wawa drive-through, which is smaller in size and a different shape and design than the traditional Wawa with fuel facilities, which is located on the adjoining lot. The Wawa drive-through requires branding identification and visibility for the safety of the traveling public. The hardship has not been created by the applicant, and the variances, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood nor substantially impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property, nor be detrimental to the public welfare because the property is located in a commercial district on a heavily traveled Pine Grove Road, and the proposed signs are consistent in size and number with signage at other commercial properties. The signage is appropriate for the proposed use. And finally, the variances are the minimum necessary to afford relief and require the least modification possible of the regulations at issue. And that is his offer of proof, and I could have him affirm at this time if that's acceptable.
Absolutely.
Ron, you were present for and listened to my offer of proof for your testimony this evening. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did I accurately represent what your testimony would be if you testified this evening with regard to the zoning application?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you affirm and adopt this testimony as your own?
Yes.
And would you like to change or add anything to the offer of proof?
No.
That's all I have of this witness.
Thank you, Ms. Van Sparkelson. So I'll open it up for any board questions at this moment. Scott?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the signage. Do you have any other signs on the three adjoining properties, and or do you propose any other signs that might be on the property in the future?
So there's a freestanding sign at each of the entrances, one on West Trenton and one on Pine Grove. There's a bottom panel to each of those signs, and that was approved as part of the previous development, and that bottom panel was reserved for this user, whoever that user would be. At the time, they didn't know who it was going to be, so it was left as a blank module. So there will be proposed signage on each of those freestanding signs for this Wawa drive-through.
And both of those are going to stay the same size as what they originally were set out in the proposed beginning of the project?
Correct. So the bottom panel reserved was a 5-foot by 10-foot panel for a 50 square foot total. That is not going to be increased. That will remain the same as originally approved.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Doug?
No, I'm good, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
I have none.
Al?
No, I agree. These signs are needed to direct traffic, so I have nothing.
Yeah, I have no questions for Mr. Koss. Any public comment questions in our gallery?
No public comment. No public comment.
With that, Ms. Fons Parkinson, if you want to move on.
Yes, I have no further testimony to present this evening. I would just ask that my exhibits be moved into evidence.
Okay. Thank you. Without any further board comment or questions, would someone like to make a motion for this petition?
Mr. Chairman, before we do that, could you check with Mr. Takita to make sure there was nothing online? We didn't receive anything
Oh,
online.
I'm sorry. Absolutely. Yeah. Matt, was there anything we received online?
Nothing from the township.
Nothing from the township. And thank you. Excellent. Okay. With that clarification, let's someone like to make a motion for this petition.
I'll make the motion. I move that the application of Wawa Inc. requesting dimensional variances from sections 209-45E 18A and C and 209-45Q 5A and B of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted. Permit 3 wall signs on the Wawa drive-through building and 1 directional sign at the West Trenton Avenue driveway access at the property located at 549 West Trenton Avenue, Morrisville, Pennsylvania 19067, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Scott, pull the board, please.
Myself, yes. Doug?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And Dan?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
The applicants are in.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Silverson.
Hello, good evening.
Everybody's here. We're going to have your witnesses sworn in now, okay?
All right, I just have one witness, Mr. Showalter.
Okay, great. Mr. Showalter, we're going to have our court reporter swear you in right now. The next voice you hear will be hers.
Mr. Showalter, do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll mark some exhibits for the petition to our solicitor, Mr. Biddingmeyer.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal ZHB1 along with the accompanying statement. 2 will be 4 pages containing 4 colored photographs, one of which shows that the property was posted for tonight's meeting as required. 3 is a minor subdivision plan in regards to this property. 4 is a site plan for this property. 5 is proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier Times, dated September 29, 2020, and then again October 6, 2020. 6 is an aerial view of the property. 7 is a CV of Mr. Robert Showalter. 8 will be a copy of the deed in regards to this property. 9 will be a letter from Eastburn and Gray, solicitor for the applicant, received by the township September 22nd, 2020. And if I can ask Mr. Silverstein, in regards to what I've marked as ZHB 9, it's a copy of the notice to the adjoining and abutting property owners. Do you have a copy of that letter, sir?
I do.
Okay, and that's a letter you sent to the township. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, and along with that letter was also a certificate of service. And if I could just ask you, a copy of ZHB 9 went to all the property owners on your Exhibit B. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, with that, I am satisfied the appropriate notice has been satisfied. This matter can proceed.
Okay, Mr. Silverson, up to you. What's going on?
All right, good evening. Thank you for hearing our meeting in this digital format. I'm here tonight on behalf of USS Real Estate, which is a division of United States Steel Corporation, which is the property owner of the Keystone Industrial Port Complex, also known as the KIPC. I have one witness tonight, Mr. Bob Showalter, who my understanding is that he's appeared in front of the board on numerous occasions in the past. Essentially, what we're proposing is subdividing off approximately a 25-acre portion of the larger KIPC property, and it's the portion of the property that contains the galvanized steel plant. Essentially, U.S. Steel is attempting to, or what their intention is to subdivide it off, maintain the galvanized plant, and I guess sell the remainder of the KIPC property. We're currently requesting 3 distinct variances. They're all from the same section of the zoning ordinance related to different requirements. Section 209-30, subsection D, related to Table 5. One is from the impervious coverage ratio requirement. One is from the lot width and lot frontage requirements, which are somewhat the same in the zoning ordinance. And the third is from the front yard setback, and we're also looking for interpretations related to those zoning requirements based on some language in the zoning ordinance and how they apply to our property, and the fact that we don't actually have any public streets that run through our development. They're all private driveways or through the KIPC. So I submitted a series of exhibits which I marked as tab 1 through tab 5, and I would ask if those could just be entered as A1 through A5.
I'm sorry. So I have received the tabulations, and what I did is I pulled out what I believe to be the missing exhibits. I'll certainly mark and we'll accept any exhibit that you might have that I didn't previously mark.
Okay, and would you like me to, I guess, share the documents on my screen as they come up and we discuss them, or is it? Can I just assume that the board has any of those documents, and if there's any questions or they need any clarification, I can just put those up? Yes,
the board should have received what I previously marked as ZHB 3 and 4, the site plan, and the. Give me one. Bear with me 1 second. The minor subdivision. The minor subdivision plan, the site plan, the CV of Mr. Showalter, and the aerial of the property, which was ZHB 6. Yes,
I'm correct.
All of that should have been included in each individual board member's packets. If anybody.
Okay, I will attempt to refer to the exhibits based on the zoning hearing board exhibits, just to simplify things for everyone. So as the previous applicant did, I have taken the liberty of preparing an offer of proof of Mr. Showalter's testimony. If the board were so inclined, I would present that, and then similar to the last application, ask Mr. Showalter to affirm to what I say. Is that okay with the board?
Yes.
All right. So I will proceed with that offer of proof. My one witness tonight is Mr. Robert L. Showalter, who, if he were to testify tonight, would testify that he is and has been a licensed civil engineer and land surveyor in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for over 49 years, and that he is and has been employed by Showalter and Associates, a consulting firm he founded in 1980. His duties with Showalter and Associates include zoning and land development code analysis and preparation of zoning, conditional use, and subdivision and land development plans. He has testified at numerous zoning hearings and has been accepted as an expert in civil engineering, zoning, and land development in dozens of municipalities, including Falls Township. Bob would confirm that a true and correct copy of his curriculum vitae was provided with the applicant's exhibit package and is presently marked as exhibit ZHB 7 in the board's packet. And with that, I would just ask if Mr. Showalter would be recognized as an expert in the areas of civil engineering, zoning, and land development.
So recognized. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, to continue, Bob would further testify that he was engaged by the applicant, USS Real Estate, which is a division of the United States Steel Corporation, to provide engineering services for the proposed minor subdivision of the galvanized plant from the larger KIPC property, including visiting the site and preparing zoning and land development plans. With regard to this zoning application, Bob would testify that he analyzed the applicable provisions of the Township's zoning ordinance and subdivision and land development ordinance, prepared the aerial and plans contained in ZHB Exhibit 3, ZHB Exhibit 4, and ZHB Exhibit 6 of the exhibit package that the board was given, and I won't be displaying that on the screen. Using the aerial of the property, which is ZHB Exhibit 6, Bob would testify that the property at issue this evening is part of the larger Keystone Industrial Port Complex, or KIPC, which totals approximately 1,367 acres of land. The KIPC property was previously used entirely by U.S. Steel and has gradually been extensively redeveloped and improved with a variety of industrial and manufacturing uses, as well as supporting utility services and infrastructure facilities. Bob would further testify that the applicant now wishes to subdivide off a smaller 25-acre lot that contains the existing galvanized plant from the larger KIPC property. U.S. Steel then plans to sell off the remaining 1,342 acres approximately and retain the proposed 25-acre lot containing the galvanized plant. The proposed subdivision can be seen on tab ZHB 3 of your exhibit package. With regard to the smaller 25-acre lot being created by this minor subdivision, which is presented in ZHB Exhibit 4 of the exhibit package, Bob would testify that the proposed lot will be bound on two sides by an existing railway line, and on the other side by already developed portions of the KIPC property. Access to the property is made via a gated private access road known as Middle Drive that runs parallel to and overlapping with the abutting railway line. In this application, the applicant does not propose any physical improvements or changes to the existing buildings or structures, or any increases to the impervious coverage that currently exists. Bob would testify that due to the existing improvements, including buildings, structures, and infrastructure facilities that are located within the KIPC and in the immediate vicinity of the galvanized plant, the applicant requires several variances or ordinance interpretations regarding the applicability of certain zoning requirements. All three potential variances are from section 209-30, subsection D, and the associated table 5. The first is related to the required impervious coverage ratio. Table 5 requires a maximum impervious coverage ratio of 80%, and based on the existing improvements on the proposed lot, the applicant requests a variance to permit an impervious coverage rate of 99.27%. Bob would further testify that the second request is related to the required minimum lot frontage and minimum lot width. The definitions for the terms lot frontage and lot width reference a street line, presumably based on an assumption that a lot will have a frontage on a street. Although the proposed lot meets the minimum lot width requirement of 100 feet, it does not have frontage on a street, and there is no legal or ultimate right-of-way line from which the lot frontage and lot width could be measured. The applicant requests an interpretation that strict compliance with this requirement is not necessary, or in the alternative, that all necessary variances are granted to allow the proposed lot to be designed as shown on the plan provided as Exhibit ZHB 4. Bob would further testify that the third request relates to the required minimum front yard. Again, because there is no street line, applicant cannot strictly comply with this requirement. Based on the existing buildings on the lot and the abutting infrastructure, there can only be a 27-foot front yard measured from the proposed lot line, where a 100-foot front yard is otherwise required. Again, the applicant requests an interpretation that strict compliance with this requirement is not necessary, or in the alternative that a variance to allow a 27-foot yard setback measured from the proposed lot line as shown on the plan exhibit ZHB4. Bob would testify that the unnecessary hardship necessitating the requested relief arises from the extensive existing development on the KIPC property, as well as the common utilities, private roads, and railroad lines. These existing improvements make it impractical, if not impossible, to create a subdivision line that would comply with these zoning requirements. Bob would further testify that the requested variances, if granted, would not alter the essential character of the surrounding area, nor substantially impair the appropriate use or development of the adjacent property, nor be detrimental to the public welfare, because the KIPC property is densely developed with manufacturing and industrial uses that share common utilities, private roads, and railroads. And finally, he would state that the requested variances are the minimum necessary to afford relief and require the least modification possible of the regulations at issue. So with that, I would ask the board if now would be an appropriate time to call Mr. Showalter just to affirm that testimony.
Yes, please.
All right, Bob, you were present for and listened to my offer of proof of your testimony this evening, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And did I accurately represent what your testimony would have been if you had testified this evening with regards to this application?
Yes, you did.
And you affirm and adopt this testimony as your own?
Yes.
And would you make any changes or additions to my offer of proof?
No.
All right, and with that, I have no more testimony from Mr. Showalter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Silverstein. We'll open it up now for board comments, questions. Maybe Mr. Showalter can shed some light if people have any. Scott. You're muted, my friend.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that, and I understand what you're doing there. Do we have any other neighbors that are going to be moving into that other property that we're aware of at this time?
Not any more at this point in time, no.
Okay, that's all I have.
Doug?
I have nothing, Dan. Thank you.
Bill?
And this site just encompasses the sheet and tin building, right? That's correct, yes. All right, that's all I have.
Al?
No, nothing.
Thank you. I have no questions. Any public comments, questions received?
No public comment.
Pat, anything through the township specifically?
Nothing through the township.
Directed to Mr. Showalter? No, thank you. Okay. Mr. Sivertson, you continue.
I have no further witnesses this evening. I would just ask that my exhibits be moved into the record.
Thank you. All right. Any further board comments, questions? If not, would someone like to make a motion?
Make the motion. I move that the application of USS Real Estate requesting dimensional variances from section 209-30D and table 5 of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to permit an impervious surface ratio on the proposed lot equal to the existing 99.27% impervious surface ratio, to permit the minimum lot frontage and minimum lot width as set forth on the submitted plans, and to permit a 27-foot front yard measured from the proposed lot line to facilitate subdivision of a 28.85 acre parcel at the property located at Keystone Industrial Port Complex, Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, 19030, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
My only clarification was I believe it's 25. And Bob, you can clarify. I just want to make sure it's the right area. 25 point.
25.58 acres. That's the lot size.
25.5. You said 27 or 28. Just wanted to clarify that. Sorry.
Give me 1 second. So on the third request on the original plans, it was requesting a variance to permit a 27-foot front yard measured. You're advising that it would be 25.5?
No.
No, the lot area.
The lot size.
The total subdivided parcel is 25, not 27. I think there was just a mix up there.
Okay.
I would like to correct the motion to reflect that it says 25.85 acre parcel.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, Scott, pull the board, please.
Myself, yes. Doug,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
and Dan.
Yes. Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Keith, did you see that on your proposal?
Yeah, my apologies, Scott. That's
all good.
That slipped by me.
Yep, all good. Thank you.
Okay, we can clear the room. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion, Dan.
A second?
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, all.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you.
See you, Eddie.
Right.
See you.